Check, check, check.
Check, 1, 2, check.
Here we go.
Check. See Bo's in there. Bo, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you guys.
You can hear us.
All right. We are here live at the leaderboard. This is the Hawkeyes and Tallboys podcast. That's our new intro, and I don't know if you can actually hear that or not on Facebook Live, but it's something that we just came up with and we're still tinkering with because we haven't got the levels quite right because we can't hear everybody.
Don't say we, Rob. That was all you, bud. So proud of you. Thank you.
So we're pretty excited to be back at the leaderboard. They let us record here, and obviously you can see behind us where it's in North Liberty, right off of Penn Street and Ramshaw, right on the corner there. So it's a pretty cool place. And we just wanted to start off.
Wait, before you get going here, Rob, let's first off, we don't have any tall boys. Let's get a cheers here, boys.
Here you go, boy.
Cheers to the leaderboard.
Cheers and go Hawks.
Cheers. Perfect. And it was coming through the speakers here. I just want to make sure that we can hear through the microphone. So if anyone's listening, can just send a comment.
Oh, we got Maggie Pena Meyer saying, hi, Dylan. And she spelled your name wrong. So
ask her if she can hear us okay.
I think she can hear us. Hey, that first beer, just to let you know, is brought to you by KJY News, the official news sponsor of Dallas Cowboys long snapper Drew Scott.
Drew Scott, hell of a football player coming out of Cedar Rapids Xavier.
Yeah, good for him.
He sadly went out of state for his college football days and played at Kansas State, but has had a few stints here in the NFL and actually had a brief stint with the Raiders last year.
Really?
So
Raider
Nation, go Raiders! But now he's a Cowboy.
The Raiders.
So it is what it is.
How do you? Well, we're not even going to talk about the NFL. I was just about to ask you how you think the Raiders are going to do this year, but I'm excited. I've been watching a little bit of Hard Knocks. So
yeah, Raider Nation, Gruden.
Before we get started here, I just want to jump into some stuff. We've had a pretty crazy week. It's been kind of a roller coaster for us at Hawkeyes and Tallboys, but we got some news about Oliver Martin, and we got it a little early from one of a great friend of the podcast that we are going to leave unknown. But let us know about the NCAA clearing the waiver for Oliver Martin. We knew it on Sunday, and we posted it on our all our social media, which should have been Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just because we wanted to be ahead of the curve and kind of show, that we were ahead of the game a little bit. I didn't see anything from KCRG. I didn't see anything. KJAY News was right behind us on that one on Sunday.
Great assist. Thanks, KJY.
And we were expecting the announcement to come out on Monday that, everything was cleared and he was good to go.
Right.
And that's not what happened.
Right. And so the confusion was, over the weekend, essentially his waiver cleared the NCAA. The one thing that our source did let us know ahead of time is that, there could be a potential hiccup with the Big Ten. So obviously it wasn't that big of a hiccup because it only took them a couple days to get everything figured out. But that's one of those things we had to work through a little bit. And sorry, we're not sorry. We're fans with sources. That's what we are. Hashtag
fans with sources, baby. Love it. Right.
And what he's referring to, we got a lot of criticism on Twitter. I think honestly, one, because they see they don't recognize what Hawkeyes and Tallboys is. Because I think, according to Anchor, we only have about 150 solid listeners, but we're growing that thing. And but anyways, you see something from somebody you don't know about some pretty crucial news that is going to affect the Hawks this year. So I can understand a little bit of hate. You know what I mean? But when push comes to shove, we're right. And
what's up?
So we were on top of it. So we are, in fact, a reliable source, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're fans with sources.
That's right.
So
yeah,
right. I still think that's a fair hashtag and everything. And we're going to go ahead and own it. Who sent that out? You know who you are, and if you're listening, great. So we're fans with sources, and we're going to own it.
It's this whole process has been crazy though. With the NCAA, we don't know who's going to clear and who's going to clear. It's been ups and downs. It's been crazy. Michigan got their luck with that Aubrey Solomon, I think, right? Yep. He cleared. But then we see, like you said last week, that Georgia tight end that transferred to Illinois, with an ailing grandparent didn't. So it's just crazy. I'm glad that we got this all figured out. Yeah. Glad we reported this and glad that Oliver Martin can play this year.
Exactly, and he's going to make a huge impact on the team, I think, and in an area that we really need help at. I feel like it. Nothing against our receivers. Obviously, Brandon Smith and Smith Marset is going to be somebody. Those are guys who are going to be key contributors. But to get somebody like Oliver Martin, who beat T.J. Hawkinson's record for most catches in Iowa history, and as well as somebody who was highly touted coming out of college. He could have gone to, I think, Notre Dame, he said, like Michigan.
Yep. Yeah, so 4-star receiver coming out of college.
Yep. Dill's our resident recruiting expert.
10-4, I do what I can. But, no, he had offers from everywhere and could have gone wherever he wanted. Sadly, picked Michigan off the bat. Heartbreaker to us Iowa fans, especially being, in Iowa's backyard, growing up in Iowa City and attending Iowa City West. But, nonetheless, we got him now. He's got 3 years of eligibility.
Yep.
And he's going to go down as one of the greats. Hot take.
Hot take, baby.
Hot take. He reminds me of Tim Dwight. Hot
really?
take.
Wow.
Timmy D, that's high praise there, Rob.
Yeah, that's pretty spicy. But I'm honest with you. I mean, he's fast. He ran a 4.57 40 in high school, which isn't crazy fast, but that's in high school, and he looks way different than he did now.
He does. It looks like he's put on some pounds, too. I mean, it looks like a solid receiver, too, and they've been comparing him to a lot of big names, too. And I've seen all over Twitter and social media, too, that this could be the best wide receiver core that Iowa's had since Darrell Johnson-Coulianos and Marvin McNutt.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
So super excited for that. But I think after we kind of cleared the air there with the Oliver Martin news,
we were right. Don't forget that. We were right. Yeah, we were 2 days late. Whatever, bite me. It's fine.
Exactly. And honestly, on that note, just to turn the dagger a little bit more, I just want those out there who are giving us flack. You know what I mean? Give credit where credit's due. We were there. We had the news. We were right. So right now, I think we kind of took the high road a little bit, and we're kind of just giving them crap, hey, listen into our podcast, blah blah blah. Even Brown-Camp actually tweeted out to us, which was awesome to even be recognized by that guy. But I mean, there are still people out there who are like, well, it wasn't approved by the Big Ten on Sunday, so you guys aren't technically right. You're still wrong. So all your pride. We're all Hawkeye fans. You know what I mean? On Saturday, I bet you like beer, whoever that guy is. You know what I mean? If you met me, I bet you'd like me.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean? So, why are you hating so much?
And who was it? Somebody asked who our source was in the Big Ten. We're three guys that are all recent grads. So, who the hell would we know working for the Big Ten?
Yeah,
nobody.
Just absolutely asinine. So, whatever. We are what we are. We're fans with sources, and we accept it, and we love it.
But we're fun. And we drink beers. Okay.
Drink a lot of beers.
So I want to get Dylan, you got some questions for the mailbag this week.
We do. So we got a good mailbag segment here. Looking at first question, and comes from Peyton, and newly out of Norway, actually. He wants to know, guys, Hawkeyes and Tallboys, hey, if our receiving core, he asked, is our receiving core going to be, and I quote, lackluster, like I'm hearing on BHGP, which is short for Black Hard Gold Pants. So pretty common fan site for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I guess, Rob, I'll take it to you first. What do you think?
No, I don't think it's going to be lackluster at all, especially with the addition of Oliver Martin. He's going to be able to play. And did you guys see that people were kind of talking a little bit about he was nursing a shoulder or whatever in practice?
He might not even play week 1 is what I heard.
Yep, and that's wrong.
And that is wrong.
Kirk said he was going to play.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's been taking reps at the X and Z spots, both on. So I mean, he's going to be somebody that cycles in. I could see him running. Even though I know he's typically an outside receiver, I could see them sticking him in the slot because how big Brandon Smith is. And the experience that Brandon, Smith Marset has.
And that's the basics. I mean, for those that don't know the X's and O's when it comes to football, what do they have? I think it's XYZ.
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 So Y be tight end, right? X.
Y is technically slot, I believe.
Is Y slot?
And then the X and the Z are. We could have that.
I'm thinking old school,
whatever.
Yeah.
I was a lineman in my day, so don't at me. Sorry about it.
Yep.
But just think about XYZ. Those are your receivers, your tight end, your playmakers essentially.
But they always have Amir Smith Marset and Brandon Smith. If they're on opposite sides of the field, they're always on the outside, and they're going to put Tyrone Tracy and Nick Reganey in the slot. Nico. Oops, sorry, Nico. Nico Reganey. And so those two are freshmen, and they look like they're going to see a lot of playing time this year. But now with the addition of Oliver Martin, I could see them throwing him in the slot or moving people around. And we'll probably get to see that. And I think this will be a perfect game to kind of experiment with some different personnel from the receivers.
And why wouldn't you, though? I mean, he's 6 foot. He resembles Nick Easley so much, too. I mean, he's just that fit, wide receiver. Jeez, wow, I can't even talk. Anyway, but he's got that build, got that, frame to where, if we got a guy who's tearing up the middle of the field, then you got an X and a Y on the outsides with Amir Smith-Marset and Brandon Smith, who are going to come down with the deep ball.
And a quick plug here for those of you that may notice Bo slurring on his words a little bit. Me and him had a few tall boys in the parking lot, and you probably saw the video already, but he had the shotgun one as well for losing our Miami-Florida bet. So
So what did you so you took Florida.
I took Florida with
plus
the over.
7. Or minus 7.5.
So plus 7.5.
Yep.
Or minus 7.5.
Yep.
So he thought Florida was going to cover that.
The final score was 24-20 Florida. So they still won, but Miami kept it close.
They did. I was actually really surprised about that, to be honest with you. The freshman quarterback, I thought it was going to be Florida's game to really pounce on those guys.
Yeah.
And what a slot fest of an opening game, to be honest. I don't know if it was terrible offense or very, very good defense, but they seem to be pretty evenly matched.
Big shout out here for Jordan Cole. Love it, boys. Fans with sources. Love it, buddy. Thanks for the shout out. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, Jordan. And I did want to go ahead and give my take, too. So on this.
On the receivers,
do
you think they're going to be lackluster this year, or what?
So I'm kind of focusing on pouring my beer and not spilling it on all of our fancy equipment here.
That's pretty foamy.
It's a little foamy, but
actually, that's a pretty good pour.
That's a quality
Raise
head.
that up so the fans can see.
That's a quality head.
That's a really nice pour, and you can see that quality Hawkeyes and Tallboys koozie. That we're going to try to get some merch going.
Yep, we will.
So look out for that.
We'll share that take, Dill.
But no, I went ahead and looked at it. I don't think our receiving core is going to be lackluster whatsoever. I think, first of all, you're going to get your Iowa tight end stepping up. Now, are we going to have the production of Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson? Absolutely not. But you got to think, too, with those guys being gone, it gives the opportunity for these young guys all to step up. So we look at guys like last year, Brandon Smith, went on 28 receptions, 361 yards, 12.9 yards a catch with 2 touchdowns. So with him being at 6'3", I think you're going to see him in a lot of deep ball situations. And, I think he's going to be a player to watch this year without a doubt. And then we look at Amir Smith-Marset, another one, 23 receptions, 361 yards, 15.7 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns as well. Look for him to step up as well. I know Kirk said it in the presser a few times that he challenged him last year to step up and be a leader for the squad. He's an upperclassman now, and I think he's going to do a hell of a job as well. And one of those things that not a lot of people are talking about either, which I haven't even brought up our tight ends yet, but the production of Mekhi Sargent last year out of the backfield.
Phenomenal.
Not even just rushing necessarily, but looking at the receiving side as well, and right now we're looking at 17 receptions for 156 yards, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, that's a big playmaker to have, especially down in the red zone.
Yep. And the fact that they can cycle out guys and put Mekhi in on – Mekhi is most likely going to be our first down back. But, I mean, you do have Torrin Young who's waiting for, attempts too. So, I mean, the way that I could see Torrin Young taking first, second down reps and having Mekhi come in on third down. And there's still, Ivory Kelly-Martin who's out there too.
Right.
And what?
Tyler Goodson and
Chadwick Bird.
Oh, that's right.
Bird. Yep. You're gonna see those freshmen get in there, and with the speed that Tyler Goodson has, especially, look for him to be a Christian McCaffrey-esque threat, in the passing game, especially. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna be Christian McCaffrey.
That'd be awesome.
Relax, everyone. But
but you know what, Dill? Like, you bring a good point. Like, we have backs that can catch out of the backfield. Does that not scream New England Patriots offense to you? Yeah. Like we talked about Tom Brady doing the checkdowns. I mean, Brian Ferentz is incorporating this phenomenal Super Bowl winning talent team into his own team.
Yeah.
Like that offense is translating into our offense. And hey, man, if it's going to win Super Bowls, it may win Big Ten championships too.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. And then we had another one come from Seth here in North Liberty. We gave Seth a special shout out yesterday, and I think he actually missed it. I think he tuned out.
Seth Powell's?
Yeah. Well, we weren't going to say his last name on the air, but there it is. All right. Very good. No, but Seth out of North Liberty, Iowa, he wanted to know, hey, guys, defensive back, who is the defensive back that's going to be most likely for a breakout season similar to, Amani Hooker last year and Josh Jackson the year before, and just keep going with, as far as the Phil Parker era has gone. You know, you look at Amani Hooker, you look at Josh Jackson, you look at Desmond King. There's going to be somebody. And the first people that come to mind for me is you got to think Dane Belton, defensive back out of Florida, true freshman this year. It never fails with Phil Parker that it seems a true freshman comes onto the scene and, you know, knows what the hell they're doing. Second guy I had to think of, and you look in the stats a little bit last year, but you look at Matt Hankins, 48 tackles last year and 29 of those being solo. Out of the cornerback position, that's phenomenal. And you look at, especially with all these colleges running that spread nowadays, you know, your cornerbacks have to be on point. Yep. Another potential guy to watch is Geno Stone, one of those guys that got snubbed actually by Penn State. So I compare him a lot to Bob Sanders in that regard, where they both grew up Penn State fans. They both lay the lick out of that safety position. And you're going to see a little bit of him playing possibly in that cash role as well. So those are the guys that I would definitely think of. You could throw Julius Brents in the mix there as well, another young guy to watch.
That's crazy you say that too. I mean, I can't believe that Penn State, you know, wouldn't pick up a guy, you know, in-state, you know, like Geno Stone. But, you know, my guy that I think is going to be a phenomenal DB this year is going to be Matt Hankins. I think Matt Hankins is going to be that next guy in. Is he a sophomore or junior? Between a sophomore and junior, I know he's played. He had some playing time last year, and he had some playing time the year before.
So I can't remember if he redshirted his first year on campus or not.
What I
know
thinking.
This is his third year.
I think he's a redshirt sophomore. Okay. But I think he's got the experience. He's got play time in the Big Ten, and he's played against Mississippi State in that bowl game too. So I think Matt Hankins is due for a big year. Rob, what do you think?
My pick is going to be the same pick for my defensive breakout player of the year, which I mean, as far as a breakout goes, I think it's going to be Kayvon Merriweather, who's in our safety spot. And a lot of people I feel like he's flying under the radar because they had a walk-on that he was in a positional battle with for a little bit. But he's a young kid. He's a sophomore. He's got a good frame. He's fast. They say he has elite athleticism when he applies himself. So I think his issue is that he just needs to be a little bit more, I feel like, motivated. But it also could be maybe like just going through summer like drills and things and not being under the lights and not being, you know, kind of just getting into the flow of game mode. But I feel like when the music's blasting and, you know, he's on the field, I feel like that he's going to be somebody who makes a big difference. So I'm looking for Kayvon Merriweather to break out this year.
Well, and think about it like this too. You know, what were we all doing our summers in college? Sure as hell wasn't waking up at 5 o'clock for, you know, agilities, you know, going to lifting at 9, eating lunch, coming back, possibly taking a summer class, doing another workout at 3, practice at 6. So
it's a hot take. I could see me being maybe a year early on Kayvon Merriweather, but I'm beating the drum early. I like him.
I like it.
And
I think that just goes to show you right there, guys, you know, how special of a coach we have in Phil Parker that, you know, we all essentially picked 3 different players to possibly break out of that secondary. So
true.
Phenomenal hire.
And don't forget about Michael Ojemudia too. You know,
senior.
Ojemudia is going to have, I mean, he could potentially have a great senior year too.
Did you guys see he was named a captain along with Randy Ross, Nate Stanley, and
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
AJ Epinesa?
No.
I don't know. Well, damn it. Now
Tristan
we're
Wirfs?
look that up. No, it wasn't Tristan either.
He's a junior. They were all seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? It's Drew Cook. Drew Cook is a tight end.
Oh.
He was named a captain? Are you sure? I was thinking it was Christian Welch.
There was 20 of them. There's 20
No.
Oh,
I'm talking about the captains for this week.
Oh, I did not see that, Dill. Sorry, man.
No, that's okay. We'll look it up. Don't worry. Don't worry, listeners. So while we're looking that up, we had another question come in from Kyle. Kyle's out of the Davenport, Iowa area. I believe he lives in North Scott. Is that a town or is that a school district? Or is that both? I think Eldridge is the town for North Scott, right?
Yeah.
So, and Hawkeyes and Tallboys, I know you guys can't see them, but we do have a fan base in here in the leaderboard listening to us. So we have Mr. Michael Pond, Mrs. Kelly Pond, and Mr. Joe Pond as well. So
we got a little studio audience. So
studio.
Try to move the mic so you can hear them.
Yeah. So they're in here. They're listening. They're getting rowdy. We're getting rowdy down here in North Liberty also. Feel free to come on by and just knock on the door. We're in the private room.
Yeah. Nice to have you guys, too. This is our first time having guests, too, so we appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, guys.
But looking at that, Kyle wanted to know, he's like, guys, are we going to have a decent running game in 2019? After watching the Outback Bowl, obviously Mississippi State was unbelievable up front, but will we still be a run-first offense?
Stop.
And we touched on this last week a little bit. But what are your thoughts, Bo? Go ahead.
Dude, I think we're definitely going to have an over 1,000-yard rusher with 3 guys. That's a hot take, if you will, but I honestly think it's going to be terrible, but I think one of them is going to get hurt, and we're going to have 2 that are going to be prolific running backs.
It's not terrible. That's being realistic. We're being so nice.
Yeah, you're right. So I think, and let me just tell you who's going to be the prolific 2 backs. I think Torn Young's going to be number 1, and I think our other one's going to be number 10.
Hawkeyes Sargent.
You bet. Sorry. Thanks, guys. So I think we have 2 phenomenal running backs there too, and those guys are going to go pretty close to 900 to 1,000 yards, kind of like what we had with James Daniels and Akram Wadley back a couple years back.
James Daniels, he was a center for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Remember him? You mean remember LaShawn Daniels?
Yeah, you're right, LaShawn. Yeah. Well,
I was just giving you shit. They were brothers.
No, I'm glad
it's understandable.
But here's the deal too. So we got 2 phenomenal tackles, right? We got 2 big, could be first-round tackles.
Yep.
The Paulson brothers could be our starting guards, which it sounds like they're going to be. So we have and then Tyler Linderbaum at center, right, from Solon. I mean, the guy, we got a studly offensive line. So if we can,
and there's another guy, Cole Banwart, who's going to be rotating in, but I think he was dealing with an injury. I think
so. He may not start Saturday. Correct,
but it's good. I mean, he's still another guy.
Yeah, he's still going to be in the rotation, and I bet before the season's over, Cole Banwart will be starting at one of those guard spots as well. And you think about any typical Kirk Ferentz coach team. I know we've used that phrase about 1,000 times here in the last 2 weeks, but any Coach Ferentz coach team is going to be very, very skilled up front. So you look at that entire line, and they've been high on Tyler Linderbaum since last year in spring practice. I think it was pretty apparent that he was going to be the starting center here this year. So you look at that, and our zone runs left, right, whatever way, it's going to be great. We're going to have a good running game. I'm with Bo. I think we're going to have a 1,000-yard rusher, if not 2.
Yep.
Which in 2016, LaShawn Daniels and Akram Wadley both each went for 1,000 yards.
Yep.
So I definitely think we have at least 1,000-yard rusher. We're still going to be a run-first offense, but look for some more of those Brian Ferentz trickles.
You know what? So, viewers? That's a bold take too. Think about the away games and even the schedule. I mean, we have one of the toughest schedules in the country too. We have to go to a bunch of big name, Big Ten.
We go to Michigan
in the 30s.
We go to Northwestern.
Yep.
We go to Nebraska. We go to Wisconsin.
Yep.
Which is brutal.
So just know how big of a take that is, that we're going to have 1, if not 2, 1,000-yard rushers this year. That's huge. That's a bold take.
And that's what, and I kind of looked into it too. And you look at it last year, we weren't that far away, really. So Hawkeyes Sargent running the ball, 745 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4.7 yards a carry. Torn Young matched the 4.7 yards a carry with 5 touchdowns and 637 yards. So that's the thing. Even with last year being perceived as us not running the ball well, which, Kyle, I'm totally in agreement with you. It wasn't where it needs to be. I think that definitely improves with all of these guys getting another year of experience and everybody but Tyler Linderbaum coming back with some experience on the offensive line as well.
And just to go along with that, I mean, it's no secret that we had a little bit of a down year when it came to our running back, our running game last year. But if you look at the stats, I mean, even those 2 guys who carried the bulk of the carries behind Ivory Kelly Martin, who only averaged 3.5 yards a carry last year. He was obviously dealing with an injury, and then he was ultimately out for an injury. Those 2 guys still ran for 4.7 yards, almost 5 yards a carry, which is like above average for a running back. And we had a down year. We averaged 4 yards a carry as a team last year. And I know that Tristan Wirth said in media day that, their goal is to run, the offensive line's goal is to run for 4.5 yards a carry. So they're a half yard off last year. So if the O-line's goal is to improve that, I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit for, the running game, as long as they can stay healthy and, keep making guys miss.
Absolutely. And here's one for you guys. As far as say, quote unquote, like pick the clicks, who would you say this year has the most yards? I know you kind of touched on it. You think Hawkeyes Sargent.
100%.
Yep. What do you think, Rob?
So last year I liked Torn Young better than Hawkeyes Sargent.
And why?
Because I thought that he finished off runs harder.
Really?
He's a bigger guy, and I thought that he was a little bit more physical. So it could be more of a situation of like a lightning and thunder. If you look at the bulk of the way that the load is carried between the running back by committee that we have going, looks like Hawkeyes Sargent had 159 attempts, Torn Young had 136. Ivory Kelly-Martin injured, but he had 97. But if you remember prior to that, Ivory Kelly-Martin had way more than the other two.
Yeah.
Right.
The other two broke out.
He was the number one guy.
So, I mean, looking at the way that is, I think that they've kind of proven themselves and taken the lead there. So I do think it's going to be more of a two-headed monster with Ivory Kelly-Martin kind of sparingly for a change of pace. What was the question?
Your favorite?
Who's my favorite?
Yeah, who's gonna have the most yards this year?
Yeah.
So if I was betting, I would probably say Mekhi Sargent, but I'm pulling for Torrin Young. I just like him better. He reminds me, I told you, of Jordan Kinsari.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of.
You know, he honestly kind of reminds me a little bit, too, of Akram Wadley with the finesse, right? So he's one of those.
I think Mekhi is more of an Akram Wadley.
Exactly.
Wadley.
Oh, sorry. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Not Torrin Young. Sorry. Because I've watched every single game in the last 2 years. Thanks, Rockwell Collins, for paying me for that. Anyway, I've been, looking at all those videos, and he's just shiftier than shit. I mean, he's one of the best running backs, I think, in the country. So definitely underappreciated. Anyway.
So I totally agree with that, but I'm going to go with the wild card here. I think you're going to get solid production out of, our quote unquote three-headed monster, looking at Mekhi Sargent, Torrin Young, and Ivory Kelly-Martin. But my big one to look for, and I think he's going to be our home run hitter this year, is true freshman Tyler Goodson out of Suwanee, Georgia.
Really?
I think he's our home run hitter. Wow. Listen to, oh God, who was it? It was
the crowd loves that.
Right? It was Torrin Young. Torrin Young said it. He's by far the fastest running back they have in the room.
Really?
So he's going to get some playing time, and that's kind of why I mentioned that Christian McCaffrey comment earlier, where it's, I'm not saying necessarily he's going to, put up the numbers that Christian did, but if you have that lightning speed where you have a lane, I think about it all the time going to the Rose Bowl where Christian McCaffrey had that first lane, like the second play of the game, a lane to a touchdown and no one can catch you.
Yeah.
No, you're going to be a damn good football team, and I think it starts right there.
You know what? And to be honest, I know this is the way too early hype, but honestly, the young guys that we have in our team is young.
Yeah.
Besides Nate Stanley, and that's what I was I was looking at the depth chart this week, and I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but like our depth chart had said, obviously we had the behind Nate Stanley because we got a couple of guys, Peyton Manziel and who's the other?
Spencer
Petras, yeah.
The number 2 now.
Yeah, yes. Who took over the number 2? But I mean, both of those guys are battling out, and I'm wondering what the future Hawks are going to look like post Stanley.
Well, and that's what Kirk brought that up too. He said, yeah, Spencer has the slight edge right now, so they listed him as quote unquote number 2, but Peyton Manziel is still there close, and you got to remember he has the legs.
Yeah, he's a dual threat.
Yeah, he's a dual threat quarterback, and one thing we got to remember too is we got to watch for Peyton Manziel coming on the transfer block as well. With him and Spencer, I think he's actually technically a year older than Spencer.
Yep.
But then we also got Deuce Hogan coming in next year. Another.
Oh, that's right.
Officially, I think as far as 247 goes, he's a 5-star.
Yep, he is.
And then
I did see that.
Rivals, he's only a 4-star quarterback, but yeah, nonetheless.
So excited about the future.
Times.
We're banging the drum for the future Hawks, but let's see if we can get through a couple of more questions here before we get to the preview.
So we had one, and this is kind of a funny one. This one comes from Mitchell, also from North Liberty, Iowa, here, home of the leaderboard, as you see behind us. He wants to know, guys, are we going to contemplate killing ourselves or nah at 6:30 p.m. Saturday, September 14th? So if you're familiar with Iowa's schedule, that is the day of the Iowa State game. And 6:30 would be about an hour and a half into the game. And so, frankly, I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance we could be like, what the fuck is Iowa doing? Because every time we go to Ames, it seems like I have that thought. It's like, what are we doing? We're not playing, up to our potential. I don't want to say necessarily we're playing down to our opponents because Iowa State's going to have a good team coming in this year.
They're ranked 21st in the nation right now.
Yeah, but that's fucking bullshit. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like where does that come from?
Speaking of, shout out before you continue. Shout out to anyone who's an Iowa State fan because I don't really know too many.
And why would you be listening if you're an Iowa State fan?
But if you are, we would like you to be on the podcast that week so we can interview you and understand.
Ooh, actually, yeah, that's good.
Your mental.
Let us know.
Your mental instability.
Disability.
Yeah, right. That's cool. No, but
We'd like to get your takes, though, for sure.
No, and Rob, you touched on it, but obviously Iowa State is going to be an offensive team this year. They got a couple of JUCO transfers coming in, a couple of JUCO wide receivers that, should be good. Whether or not that, I keep thinking Magellan. That's not the right word. What's the word for it? The flow with the wide receivers, camaraderie. The jail, camaraderie, whatever you want to use.
Rapport.
That's the fancy way of putting it. Rob went to Illinois State. He's smarter than us Iowa folks, so that's cool. But no, I think Iowa State's going to be an offensive-minded team, like you see in a lot in the Big 12. And it's simple. You stop them, you're going to win the ball game. You keep it low scoring, I think you're going to win the ball game. You look at last year, our battle with Iowa State was close when they had Hakeem Butler, David Montgomery, et cetera. You shut down David Montgomery, you win the game. I think it's the same thing. You shut down these wide receivers, you shut down their playmakers, you're going to win the game. But you look at, obviously they got Brock Purdy returning, and it never fails with Iowa State. I think it's like the last 8 years. They start the season with the quarterback they're super excited about. By the end of the season, they're like, swear to God, we would have beat you if our new quarterback was in.
Yeah,
it always takes, that's why I'm thankful that
Jacob
we play
Parks
him early.
knocked up like 10 girls, and he's like, yeah, but if his backup would have been in, then we would have beat you guys. Never fails.
Yeah.
And they also got a log jam at running back as well. But they do have an experienced O-line coming in as well, so they should be able to run the ball pretty well. Yeah. They'll definitely be a test for our linebackers.
That's what I think too, Dill. And I kind of have to disagree with you. I think by the second quarter we're going to be looking at ourselves like, fuck, boys, we got ourselves a football game. Like how many years in a row? We won 4 games in a row, right?
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah,
it was going to be close.
4 games in a row.
Yep.
But here's the deal: like they have an experienced O-line, D-line. Their defense is going to be pretty nasty.
What?
This is the one.
Their defense is going to be pretty nasty.
I think so.
Elaborate.
No, I think their D-back. First off, their D-backs are experienced. Their D-line is very experienced. Okay, you bring in some new linebackers, but they still have one guy linebacker. They're coming back. They're returning a lot of starters at Iowa State. This is one of the games that I thought last week that I think that Iowa was going to lose, even though we're going to go 9-3, which I predicted last week. I think one of our losses is going to be Iowa State. Do I think it's going to be a blowout? No. Do I think it's close? Yeah, but I still think it's within 2 touchdowns. I still think Iowa State beats us between 2 touchdowns with their defense and then their offense with Brock Purdy.
The only reason I can somewhat understand what you're saying is because the game is going to be in Ames. That's always tough. It's always tough to go in there and get those guys. Because,
that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because, if you – the last time we were in Ames, obviously, what was it, overtime or was it just in the fourth quarter?
OT. And
it was overtime.
How many overtimes? Triple, right? Triple, right, Mike? Yeah. Yeah.
I was up in Prairie du Chien at the Duck Lodge.
Wow.
Oh.
Look out for that place if you ever go. It's awesome. Taxidermy lines the walls. But we were watching the Iowa State game, Iowa State, and an extra 3 periods means, and obviously an extra 6 beers. And it was
True that.
I was pretty excited when we won, needless to say.
Speaking of, oh my God, we're going to get off topic here for a second. Did you see 7 Big Ten teams officially are going to be serving beer in their stadium?
Absolutely.
Yeah, which means that we'll probably be next.
Yes. Oh, okay. So without a doubt, Gary Barta came out and said it earlier this year. He's like, all right, guys, we ain't going to be the first to do it, obviously, with all of our number 1 party school rankings and all that shit. But but he said we won't be the last. Guys, look for beer to come into Kinnick Stadium next year. And you're not going to have me smuggling in Jack Daniels flasks. I probably still will, but then at least I'll have a beer.
Okay, so
a $12 fucking beer in my hands, and we're going to be partying. It's going to be a great time. Our neighbors are going to hate us.
But maybe we don't know the answer to this. But I had a question because you always see in when you go to the bathroom in any of the stadiums now, it's just like all the little like airplane little bottles, shots everywhere, like just lining all the stalls. And I was wondering, do you think this will carry over to Carver? Serving beer there.
I think it already has. Honestly, I think it already has. I think there's a lot of people that sneak in booze into basketball games.
I'm saying like
I've been
be able
drunk
to serve
at plenty of
booze.
basketball games. Good times.
Sure.
But
So I think that would. If anything, I just think it's going to be a more pleasant environment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
pleasant, a little less liquor in your system. I can see what you're saying. A few more pee breaks though. That sucks.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying
guys,
pleasant as a fan. You just keep the buzz going instead of getting.
Did you guys ever hear that story? Speaking of
what?
Ohio State game. Me, my father, and then my buddy Caden, we all have season tickets together. So we walk in, and we all take rotating.
This is a blackout game, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So we
Ohio State game.
right,
Yeah.
right. The
Okay.
Ohio State game. So we all take the woodshed.
The woodshed.
So we all take turns buying the Hawkeye souvenir cup so we can mix our Jack Daniels or Captain or whatever we smuggled in. So we all take turns mixing that up, and so it happened to be my turn. So right at the beginning of the game, so I had to pee real quick. Of course, you got to wait in line there, and then went over, waited in the line there, and as soon as I got my pop, I hear this big roar, and I come shooting up the tunnel, section 133 in the old north end zone, and everybody's celebrating a touchdown. I'm like, fuck yeah. we took the kickoff back for a touchdown. And so, I'm high-fiving everybody. We're going through. It's like, hell yeah. And I get up to Caden, and I'm like, dude, Mir Smith-Marset did that. Let's go. And he's like, yeah, no, that was Monty Hooker. What the hell? When did he start returning kickoffs? I'm like, no, dude, it was a pick. It's like, holy shit. So, long story short, getting in the game early, folks. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah, it was.
I need another beer.
That might have been, at least in my lifetime, probably the greatest Hawkeye win that I've ever seen.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah, we got one last question.
We do have one more, yes. And
from our friend.
This comes from Gary. Sometimes in his family, or possibly his wife, may call him Garrett, but we know him as Gary, out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Phenomenal guy. He says, fellas, will the Hawks have a deep threat this season, and will Nate Stanley be able to dial in the long ball? So, guys, the first thing I thought of when I heard this question, you remember that play-action pass they did versus Penn State?
That they missed?
Yeah, where Nate Stanley threw it about 14 feet over Hawkinson's head.
Yes.
No safeties, exactly nobody in sight. And it's just like, that just took the wind out of my sails. I was on a party bus for that game at my buddy's wedding. I was honored enough to be in Mr. Payton's wedding. And
congrats.
It just, congrats.
Cots.
Cots on the party bus. But yeah.
Right. But anyways, so just took the wind out of my sails, and all the girls were like, come on, the Hawks don't matter. Have fun. Let's party. And it's like, yeah, no.
And, okay, let me just side tangent real quick. Side tangent. Okay, fall weddings. All right. I've been, my girlfriend Angela, we've been to 23 weddings. Me and her.
A lot of weddings.
And we've turned down a few. And anytime there's a fall wedding, if you do it on a Saturday when it's a game day, like, I'm sorry. I'm standing in the bar area and I'm watching the flat screen to see the Hawks play if it's a night game. You know what I mean? And like,
true.
There's been times I remember where like, the bridesmaids or somebody are sent out to like all the guys who are crowding the bar. Oh, because there's no one on the dance floor. Yep. Like, don't you guys want to come and celebrate?
Sorry.
I'm like, shouldn't you have picked a different date for this thing? Yeah. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just doing my thing, like on a normal Saturday night, which I normally would do.
My soon-to-be brother-in-law, Mitch Kriener, had his. Shout out, Mitch. But he had his on the Iowa State game when they went into triple overtime.
Yeah, good luck with that. Sorry, not sorry.
We had setting yourself up for failure.
Well, we probably had a 12-by-12 little TV screen. We had 25 people. Somebody's holding up one of those antenna cables, just trying to get signal inside of this little shed.
So how was this wedding you had back in 1987? Was it fun?
It was great, by the way.
Like, it's just,
congratulations.
Especially when people have had something to drink. I mean, that's just the price you pay. So, I mean, just shout out to people on fall weddings. Heads up.
Don't do it. Yeah. No, just kidding. This was
married. Yeah, sorry.
Don't get married. Play ball. No, but this was. It's funny you bring that up about the weddings because I was thinking about that. So I was obviously in this wedding. The day of the Penn State game.
Okay.
And so we were all congregated in the bar. So the Bella Sala, shout out Bella Sala.
I love that place. Been there.
Tippin, right? Tippin, nice place.
Really nice.
But they got that bar when you walk in to the left,
Yes,
and
that's it.
Every Hawk fan was in the bar. We were all partying, having a great time. And then Peyton comes up and he's like, guys, we got to do our entrance. And it's like, no, we're on our final drive. Iowa could win. No. and all the groomsmen are in there and we're like, absolutely not. No. And, the bridesmaids are all lined up ready to go. And it's like, no. Yep. And so finally Iowa messes it up and we end up losing. And so we went and did it. And I remember walking through the line with Maddie. Shout out Maddie if you're listening, with boyfriend.
Brandon.
Yeah, boyfriend Brenny. B. Lenny. But we go to walk through and she's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I don't care. Let's just drink our beer. We're just so pissed off. So just ruin the mood.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. And if you're having a wedding and a Hawkeye and the Hawkeyes lose, like, I mean, kind of takes the air out of the sail. So congratulations.
And we went off on such a tangent too because we
The
didn't
deep
even
threat.
answer Gary's question.
So
Gary, we're sorry. So I'm so deep threat this year. I think we have a few. I think
there's a lot.
yeah. Think about any of the tall guys. Whenever it comes to deep threats, I think of jump balls.
I think of Calvin Johnson.
Oh
Yes,
Calvin
type
Johnson.
people.
Yeah,
You know, people
sure.
in that.
Sure.
I was thinking you were talking about like Calvin Lockett for a second for the Hawks, but yeah, he's not that tall.
No.
Anyways, no, so we look at. I mean, you
maybe
think
a little gross for
so. Big name. I was thinking about. I think he's going to be used in goal line situations specifically, though. So maybe not necessarily a big threat guy, but look at Desmond Hudson, another true freshman, 6'4". That could be one. Another one.
He's a receiver or a tight end.
Yep. He's
Okay.
a receiver. And then I think Brandon Smith will be a deep threat this year at 6'3", and as big as he is now, it's going to be phenomenal. He's going to be a hell of a player. And then obviously you got to look at Amir Smith-Marset, but Brandon Smith's my guy. I think he's your deep ball guy this year.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I think that Brandon Smith is going to be somebody that steps out. One play that stands out to me when it comes to Brandon Smith from last year, and I don't remember, it was a one-handed catch in the corner of the end zone. That was against Maryland. Yeah. I knew that we didn't play Rutgers, so I knew it wasn't like, but I knew that the team was right. I'm just what I'm picturing. I should have looked it up. Anyway, long story short, it was a game where we were kind of ahead, obviously, for most of the game. But like, it was a play that went to the corner of the end zone. He was behind, and then he had to come back a little bit, caught it with one hand, fell down, touchdown. And like, I think that in that situation kind of proves a little bit about, Brandon Smith and just about like what he could do, because I remember last year talking about like, man, I know that we have good tight ends, but I want to see what these receivers can do. And that was like one of the first steps where I was like, okay, these guys seem to be legit. If I was going to also throw out another name, and I don't know if you're going to say who I'm going to say, Bo. So, but I'm saying, Sean Byer is a sort of a sleeper deep threat.
Let's go. I love it.
Wow.
He's 6'5".
Give me a George Kittle comparison, and I will prematurely go off just like we did breaking our news earlier.
Exactly. And we're real big about pre-ing our pants when it comes to news. But I'll tell you guys what, Sean Byer is 6'5". He's big, he's fast, he's athletic. Kirk Ferentz has nothing but good things to say about the kid. He's behind Nate Wheating, who is going to be sort of our starting tight end. But he said to look for Sean Byer to break out, and I could see that could be somewhat of a sleeper tight end, going deep,
or even receiver.
That's true.
Yeah.
For the record, everyone out there, especially ladies, none of us have issues with anything related to premature other than breaking news. Sometimes we break news a little prematurely. Nothing else. Swear.
What do you think, Bo, on a deep threat?
Yeah, you know what? I got to go with Amir Smith-Marset. The one big play that I really like is against him against Northwestern, when Stanley throws that deep ball. It's a one-on-one right on the sideline, and he catches it against Northwestern. I thought that was probably the best play that we've seen in a long time.
Northwestern is a very good defense.
Yeah, and Brandon Smith, I like that pick, but I think Amir Smith-Marset. Hey, and while we're on it, boys, let's cheers here real quick. I got to give a shout-out, Dill, to your boy, Zach Parker. He says, I slept with a girl that works at the leaderboard. Nice.
Wow.
Hey, honestly, Zach,
to you, buddy.
Zach Parker, Cots, bro.
Zach,
Cots.
got a kid. Proud of you.
You did it, man.
Proud of you. And so, just so you guys know, Zach is actually my former roommate.
Really?
Great guy. Yeah, we lived
ZP.
together down here.
And
ZP.
honestly, just
Phenomenal
big
guy.
ups.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, Iowa. One of Coach O's finest. So
Really?
if he's still listening, he's going to appreciate that comment.
Good shit.
And so that's the end of the mailbag, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think we should just jump right into the not predictions, but
I'm going to turn it over to Bo.
Yeah.
Because Bo has got some great stats here on our opponent. So this Saturday, 6:30 p.m., we're opening our season with a night game, hot off of some Oliver Martin news. He's going to be a part of the team.
Yep.
And we're going to go up against Miami of Ohio.
The U. Oh.
No,
man.
the
Miami of
Ohio Miami. The Red Hawks,
So
guys.
is that like Cleveland? Like, are they as dirty as the U was back in the day, or what?
To be honest, no idea where they're.
Fun fact while you're
What
looking
city?
that up, Rob.
Yeah.
And I have to quote the Todd Bromwickham show for giving us this.
And shout out Todd Bromwickham.
Up until the 90s, they were actually the Redskins After the 1990s, they actually turned into the Red Hawks, which they currently are now.
Well, yeah, they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
They didn't want to.
Yeah,
they're politically correct, and they are now the Red Hawks. But hey, let's look at the Miami of Ohio.
They sound kind of like
Miami
they're going to be the.
I hear they got. Big Ben Roethlisberger came from Miami of Ohio, and they got some big players.
So last year they were 6-6. That was overall, but they were 6-2 in the MAC. Ended up second overall in the East, and just was one game away from playing for that title game. But looking at their losses, they were the record overall. Most of their losses were within a touchdown. So this isn't a bad team. The only bad thing about this team is that they are graduating a bunch of guys. They did graduate a bunch of guys, so pretty fresh team overall. Their head coach, Chuck Martin, 6th year. He's 22-39, so not a great record. But this is a team that traditionally plays a pretty tough non-conference schedule.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yep. And speaking of that, they're playing
this year. They're non-con. Go ahead. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So their non-conference schedule this year, they're playing Ohio State at home.
Yep.
They're also playing whatever Tennessee Tech team, and it looks like they're playing at Cincinnati. And I don't know if they're in the MAC, but Cincinnati was 11-2 last year.
Yeah,
and then look at the next game they have as well.
At Ohio State?
Yeah. Oh, did you already say that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but no, as far as that goes, so you look at Iowa, Big Ten, Ohio State, Big Ten, Cincinnati, another Power 5 team, and then Tennessee Tech even is one that has come to Iowa City a few times. And
have they really?
Yeah, they can be a tough team.
I didn't recognize that.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, without a doubt, they can definitely be a tough team. I think they recently fired their coach.
Yeah.
But
yep.
No, they can be a good team as well. So nonetheless, they're nothing to look past by any means.
Absolutely
but
not.
I think we can all agree here that it's going to be an opportunity to play some of those guys, especially with that new red shirt rule where, see what they have, see what the Tyler Goodsons have, see what the Desmond Hudsons have, see what the Josiah Meemans have, etc.
It's going to be a fun game, that's for sure. And just kind of looking back, I mean, looking at their returners, they only have 5 guys on their offense returning and only 4 guys on the defense. I believe it's only 2 and 2 between on the defense, 2 D linemen, 2 linebackers, and 2 corners. Well, I guess 3 corners.
But looking at that too, so you look at their cornerbacks and notice how their depth chart might look a little bit familiar, Hawkeye fans, because we got Manny Rugamba as the top cornerback for him. And then one of the other cornerbacks, some of you recruiting fans might remember as well, but Cedric Boswell, actually initially a Hawkeye and went over to Miami of Ohio.
Think about Manny Rugamba. He came into that Michigan game fresh. I mean, I don't even think he played a snap until then.
He's absolutely a player. Did you see what Amir Smith-Marset said about him earlier this week?
No, let's hear it, Bill.
He was just talking about how it's going to be a dogfight. I think him and Manny used to have battles back in practice when they were here at Iowa. And so Amir Smith-Marset is expecting a dogfight and expect him to be on him all game.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And Manny Rugamba, I mean, he gave us 2, almost 3 great years of being a Hawkeye too. And I think he said in his press conference, he knows Iowa's work ethic. He knows it's going to be a battle. First stop the run, then go to the pass. But I mean, Manny Rugamba is going to be a force. That's for sure. But this is definitely
but he left. He's a traitor. So
yeah, this is going to be an inexperienced defense.
Put him in the dirt
for sure. So other than that, like I said, we got a couple of returners coming on the defense. One big news story we got about Miami of Ohio, they still haven't to this day said who their starting quarterback is going to be. They have 2 guys. One's a redshirt sophomore.
I heard they had 3.
Yeah. They have a redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman, and another true freshman that they are battling out for the first spot.
So who's their true freshman? Their true freshman is a brother of not Blake Bortles. Who is it?
Gabbert.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert's little brother.
Yes.
Brett Gabbert.
Correct.
Yep. So he's a true freshman that has been impressing in camp. I did read that earlier. And, look for him to get some snaps for the Hawkeyes as well.
Cool. But right now it's between Jackson Williamson and A.J. Meyer. From what I've heard, A.J. Meyer is going to come in, and I think he's going to be the overall starter. But they haven't officially come in yet, which I don't believe many of those 2 have much snaps after their senior quarterback last year graduated. Reganey, I think, was his last name too.
Yep.
Something like that.
So, and then just A.J. Meyer, he's 6'3", 226, so he's a pretty big guy for a quarterback. So, not quite as the size of Ben Roethlisberger, but somebody who I think looks like he could hang in the pocket. But looks like to be mincemeat for my pal A.J. Epinesa. And what do we got next? So we looked at the Miami Redhawks. Are we going in? Does it go to predictions?
Pretty close. I mean, I guess
Okay.
I guess we're kind of talking about
Iowa.
Iowa.
And we can even touch on like the betting and whatnot. Yeah, we can touch on Iowa as well. But as far as this game goes, so right now they got, obviously, if you guys didn't listen to our podcast last week, I'll explain it quick. Betting is legal now in the state of Iowa, so we wanted to touch on it here a little bit in every podcast. And for a member here of Elite Sportsbook out of Riverside, Iowa, thank you very much, Riverside. Shout out. And Iowa, right now, they got Iowa at minus 21.5, which means, so what they're expecting is Iowa to win by more than 21.5.
Yep.
Right.
And so if you were going to bet it, essentially, Iowa would have to win by 22 for you to win said bet. Guys, take the under. Well, Kirk Ferentz, all-time.
Really?
All-time, first game of the year, or in the last 9 years anyways. He's 3-6 against the spread. Kirk's not a betting man. He is a Sunday churchgoer, 9 a.m. He doesn't miss. And he doesn't believe in betting. So take the under. He's going to stick one to us, and we're going to win this one 31-10.
Yeah.
Did we get to predictions yet?
No, not yet. But, hey, you remember that. And just a little shout out to Ben Mullenbrook. He says take Iowa at the over at 21.5.
Ben, how much have you been betting, Ben? Yeah. Respond. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Ben's a good buddy of mine. I know that I know he's taking the over, and on paper it looks like it's going to be a blowout. I have this game chalked up 24-3.
Oh, okay. He said take the over as far as the overall over. Okay, Ben. Right. I'm sorry. I get it now. My bad.
Yep.
But I was thinking, yeah.
But to be honest, though, I mean, like, I could see us playing our starters for the first half, maybe, and then like just having people come in and sub in. Like, let's say if we play our starters like all the entire game, I think we'd go up by 30, 40. You know what I mean? Like, it would just get out of hand like it did against Illinois last year. Yeah. But opening game, I think that they're going to play conservatively, and we're going to see a lot of different personnel changes. And I feel like, if they got like a scout defense in, or rotating guys in, I could see like maybe a big play here and there.
Right, and this is one of those games, guys, where MAC conference opponent, you're going to see Kirk get about as tricky as he's going to go run right 2 plays in a row, and he's going to switch it up and do a counter left.
He's not going to show his cards at all.
No, not at all.
Nope. It's going to be real straightforward.
Yep. So
it's going to be, where we're going. Stop us.
Yep. Well, and the worst part about it is that the forecast has it for rain all day long on Saturday. So it's going to be a wet, slippery mess. So you can definitely see not a whole lot of passing going on Saturday. I don't think anyway. Which, to your point, I don't think he's going to show off any deep passes or deep
way to be a buzzkill, Bo.
Hey, sorry about it, boys. Hey, I'm just telling you the truth. I've been an Iowa fan for 25 years, so sorry about it.
I was going to say, we were trying to party first night game of the year, first game.
You bet.
All right, so I chalked it up for a 24-3 because I'm hoping that there are no big plays, even though I said that there's a possibility of it. My prediction is 24-3, and you said 31-10.
Yep.
So we're both right at 21 points. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, I'm at 35-10 Hawks. I think Miami is going to score
in
the
fourth
Bo
says
quarter.
They cover. You ready to You ready to shotgun another beer?
You know what? I like that shotgun the first time.
Are we doing this?
I think, you know what? Here's the deal. So I think that the fourth quarter defense, they're going to throw in their secondary their D line is going to be stout. I think Iowa's going to have a great D line here, but
even our second team D line is going to be stout.
Yeah, I think so.
They're going to tear Miami up.
I don't know, man. I still think they get a fourth quarter touchdown. Absolutely. No, I think it's going to be 35-10. I think that Iowa plays well, but at the same time, I mean, I still think that the fourth quarter they're going to give up a touchdown, kind of like they did against UNI. I think they shut out UNI until about the fourth quarter, and that's what happened there.
Maybe
too.
When they have the walk on twice removed in.
But. Yeah, right.
I think North Texas scored on us a couple times too.
Yeah, you're right.
But
okay, that year North Texas had a pretty decent offense.
But just know
AJ McNulty. I remember that year. Dan McCarney was
the mean green.
North
Texas.
Green.
Yeah.
10-4 Dallas Fort Worth.
So just know that the weather's going to be pretty rainy. About a high of 67 here. Kickoff 6:35 on Fox Sports 1 if you guys are looking to watch on Fox Sports.
Excellent. What else, guys? We got our predictions in.
Yeah. And Ben Mullenbrook, he did actually come back and say 38-14. Remember, boys, it's New Kirk. So
I
he's
like
gonna
that.
go. He's gonna go against the spread.
I like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
So-
you look at Brian though. I mean, we know Brian's had a good influence on Kirk, a nice young influence with the solid flow and everything that Brian's got going on. Phenomenal hair. Never. You guys see the practice pics at all? Speaking of about Brian's hair,
Yeah,
never out of place. It's always
he's like a young Rick Pitino.
Stop it! Oh wow!
Just I'm talking about the hair just slicked back.
I mean, I'm all for getting the 5-star athletes, but we don't need to be hiring hookers. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, let's not compare him to Rick Pitino, but I like your hair comparison.
When it comes to the hairstyle, Rick Pitino never fails every time. Slick back, looking like a mobster.
Yep.
And like maybe Brian's taking after him a little bit in that regard. But hey, a quick question for you, just off the top of my head. Okay, so Kirk Ferentz is 60. Joe Paterno coached until he was like what, 75?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we got 20? You think we have 15 more years of Kirk, or do you think he's going to transfer the reins? And if he does, do you think it's going to be Brian?
Well, first of all, let's not forget that Joe Pa was harboring a sexual fugitive for possibly 15 plus years. So
let's make sure that we bring that to light when we talk about the man. I'll tell you what, I am not intentionally trying to talk about sexual scandals.
No. Nonetheless.
Cheers that, buddy.
But no, seriously, how much longer do you think that we have with Kirk? And if he does turn over the reins, do you think it'll be Brian?
Without a doubt, it's going to be Brian. I think he's getting groomed for it right now. I think it was pretty apparent when they brought Brian back in from the Patriots after, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. I think it was pretty apparent when they made Brian the run game coordinator, and then now he has the sole offensive coordinator duties where they're grooming him to be that next Iowa Hawkeye offensive coach. And kind of like I said in our last podcast, guys, I love it. You talk to anybody on that offensive line. Shit, we talked to Parker and Sam about it this past year, and it's like, anybody on that team would run through a wall for Brian. Mm-hmm. They know he's got their back. He's literally the good guy that Kirk is, with the fire of, like a Norm Parker or, one of them feistier coaches where, they're going to get in your face, but they fucking love you, and vice versa. So he is without a doubt our next coach, guys. And I love it. Put me in that camp.
And just to compare him to coaches in age too, definitely on the better side of scandals. Whoa, Dill.
We're good.
Bill Snyder, coach at Kansas State for many years? I mean, he was there forever, and he was still on that. Was he not on Hayden Fry's staff?
Yep, he was on Hayden Fry's staff, and Bill Snyder actually retired once as well.
Yeah,
and then came back.
Yeah. And I think he is currently 79 years old. So I'm pretty sure even when he retired.
Bill officially retired again, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he officially retired in 2018. It looks like here that he had officially retired.
Well, yeah, that's what because we were worried about Tim Polasek possibly applying for that job and whatnot. So
yeah. So he was there. He was at Kansas State till 2005, and then hired again from 2009 all the way to 2018, and then officially retired.
And then completely. Chris Kleeman, is it Chris?
Yes,
Chris Kleeman from North Dakota State went and took that job.
That's right. But I don't think that Kirk Ferentz is going to be the one to retire, come back. I think when he is officially done, he's done. And I think that he's going to go all the way till. I mean, hey, would you guys be fine with him going until he's 70? I mean, if he's got this going on with Brian Ferentz. But that also poses the question, if Brian Ferentz sticks around, if his dad's going to be the head coach, if he wants to be a head coach someday. So
gotcha.
I don't know. Yeah, that's my take on it. I think that Kirk's going to stick around. I think Brian's groomed to be the next guy in, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think, Bo? Or what do you think, Rob?
So I'm excited. I mean, I think that Brian Ferentz is going to be the guy. I saw this question come up from the Athletic. Scott Docterman does like a little Q&A on one day a week. Shout out Scott Docterman. But another person came up and asked that same question. And I want to pose it to you guys to see what you thought, because a lot of people have like an idea of like, well, isn't that nepotism if you have like outrageous, guy hiring his son as the, blah blah blah, and like as somebody, obviously all of us, who work in recruiting and HR and things like that, like they're gonna have to go through the plans and procedures, and Brian's gonna have to apply for the job.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't see anybody who has better experience than what he does, being so close to the job, being it in his family, and knowing the offense, getting the tutelage, one-on-one from his dad almost his entire life, I would imagine. And plus, he's got that Patriot experience, which is,
And that's what I was just going to say, Rob. You look at anybody that says that, in the words of old Donald T, wrong. They are absolutely wrong. He's got the experience. Does he have specific head coaching experience? No. That's literally his only downfall. So you think about it like that. What matters, he's a player's guy, but he can still get in your face and still run. I think he's going to be able to run a program. I think you're going to have a small adjustment period, but he's going to do well. So
I hope he doesn't leave, to be honest with you. I think he's a mastermind. And I hope he doesn't leave. No. So my thoughts.
Well, and you talk about nepotism too, and you want to think about it. So one of the fellas I graduated with was Kirk's youngest boy, Steve. And so Steve wanted to get on with the Hawkeyes when he graduated. Obviously, he was a player for Iowa all 4 years, walked on. So I think he was technically 5 years, but walked on, and he wanted to be a grad assistant with Iowa. And Kirk told him no, because they were full at the grad assistant spot. So there's no nepotism there at all. You hear it all the time with the director of recruiting, Tyler Barnes. Obviously with Brian getting hired, if the next son that gets married or next daughter that gets married, supposedly their husband's going to be on the squad too. Absolutely not. Yeah, there's nothing to do with anything.
Long story short, you take the name off the resume, you just look at what he's got. That's ridiculous experience, and I think that's something that just adds to our football team. So good stuff, guys. That's pretty much all we got. I wanted to actually, there's one more thing I wanted to do, because we need to have a bet, and obviously we always talk about what our predictions are for the Hawks. But this year, this Saturday, College Game Day is going to be at
I like this. Good thinking, Rob.
In Auburn,
this
I believe.
Is a wild card, guys. We didn't plan this.
Yeah.
No, you're right. No, I'm just
saying
in
Auburn.
This
It's Oregon versus Auburn.
Okay.
That's where College Game Day is going to be. The spread is Oregon plus 3.5.
So Auburn wins by 3, right?
So Auburn would have to win by 4 if you pick them to
right.
win said bet.
Okay.
So we'll just keep our shotgunning a tall boy bet going, but
like walking out of the cornfield.
I'll go first since I've had a longer time to peruse this since I looked it up. But I'm going to say
Hawkeyes and Tallboys will come.
So I'm going to take Auburn with a +4, obviously. So I think that they win by more than 4 points.
You mean -4?
Or -4, yeah. Sorry, I always get screwed up. I think they're going to win by more than 4. I think they're going to win by a touchdown. But it's close. It's predicted to be close. So, and obviously Pac-10 teams typically score a lot, but they're going up against SEC teams, which people like to think are full of a lot of talent. So maybe they can. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to go ahead and go with Oregon. Oregon's going to cover the spread. I'm not saying they're going to win the game,
all right,
but it's going to be a close game down to the end. I think Auburn's a little bit down this year and graduated some key players to the draft. And, I'm going to go with Oregon. So we're going to disagree on this one, Rob.
Okay.
Rob, I'm going to follow you up here. I also think that Auburn's going to cover the spread.
You're taking Auburn?
Yeah, I think so, too. An SEC team is going to be that much better than Oregon, I think, anyway. So
perfect.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and lock it in. So I got Auburn. Dill's got Oregon, and Bo's got Auburn. So
1.5. I
guess I'll be chugging a tall boy with you, Bo, if we lose. Let me pull up our outro music here, and then that's pretty much all I got. Anything else you guys want to cover tonight?
Guys, I just want to say thanks, everybody listening here too. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thanks to our great crowd. We got everybody here in the Pond family here tonight, so we really appreciate you guys. Dill, do you have anything to add?
Really, the last thing I have to add is, all the haters that we had out there on social media this week that didn't believe us. We're gonna go off. We're gonna take the high road and say we don't blame you for not believing us, but look at us now. We might not be the most legit out there. We might not be reporters. We might not have that Big Ten connection, but we're out here now, and I think people are finally starting to realize it. And
exactly. This isn't our full-time jobs.
At the end of the day, we're all Hawk fans, and F the haters, Jaffiel.
Yeah,
absolutely, Jaffiel.
So, And
Let's see if we got. Oh, of course.
here we go.
Of course, we got an ad.
Oh, we got an ad, but
That's all right.
That's all right.
And now we're going to introduce the song that we will be hearing at approximately 8:17 p.m.
Lock it
Saturday
in.
evening.
Almost
Lock
2
it in.
hours, right? Yeah. Let's go Hawks. Thanks for
Here's to
tuning
you,
in.
fans. Appreciate it.
We should. Tell you what, boys.